A very warm evening to all our viewers. Today, we welcome to our 29th episode of Dialogue with Experts on behalf of Prime Point Foundation and e-magazine Presence. So today with us, we've got a very exclusive and a very unique combination of expertise in him. So we have with us Dr. Santhosh Babu IAS, who is a medical practitioner turned civil servant. So he has had 25 years of experience in the civil service and had chosen to take a voluntary retirement. He was from batch 1995 and specialized from various universities across the globe, including the London School of Economics, Harvard Kennedy University, and National University of Singapore. He has also contributed about 250 plus transformational innovations on his behalf to the Government of India for a better world. So apart from that, when he was the Krishnagiri collector, he has done a fabulous work with special reference to the concepts which he has given for the rural BPOs, which was the first time in India for itself. And for his outstanding contribution, he has received various accreditations, including Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam personally visiting him and congratulating him for his great work. So today, with no further delay, let's meet our former Principal Secretary of Tamil Nadu, Government of India, who has headed various departments, including the information technology, as a Principal Secretary. So welcome to our show, sir. Very glad having you with you.
Thank you, Ms. Priyadharshni.
Sir, in fact, all that you have contributed to Tamil Nadu and the nation. So I think we have to do an entire series on that because there is real fabulous work and exponential work which you have added to this entire system. So to quickly begin with, sir, because you have been in the highest position in the civil services, whom do you think can choose to get into civil service? What are the prerequisites for somebody to choose civil services?
Thank you. That's a very interesting question because I'm right now launching an IAS Academy. It's called the Capstone IAS Academy. It's completely an online interactive academy. So these are the questions which are coming to me. So today, incidentally, one of the persons called me and said, "Sir, my son is in the 7th standard. How does he get into the IAS?" So it's a very aspirational thing, somebody who is in the 7th standard. So point is that any young man or woman who is a graduate or who's completing his graduation is about 21 years of age and below 32 years of age. In the case of open candidates, and OBC candidates will be around 35, I think, and SC, ST will be 37. So, but mostly it will be in the 30s age group. So these are the candidates who can apply for the examination. So they are very eligible, anybody with a graduation. So it has got 3 phases, as you are aware. There's a preliminary phase, that's basically an elimination phase because around 10 to 15 lakh people apply across India. And then they basically take around 25 to 30,000 people into the mains examination. And from there, I think around 2 or 3,000 people are selected for the interview. And 1/3 of them actually qualify into many of the civil services. It's not just the IAS, 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 IFS, and there are many other services into which these candidates are selected.
So this is actually a very long process, and it does take much of time during the most crucial, young age of any aspirant. So how would you, how does a person prepare for this? Because it's not very sure that you would end up into some services, and it is a very, very important phase of any youngster's timing. So how does one secure his future, when he's preparing for civil services?
So one of the questions that everybody keeps asking is whether you need to be a topper or, you need to be the one of the best technical courses, etc., to be in the service. I would say no. Basically the requirement is a graduation. So anybody who's with a graduation can apply. But then you need to prepare yourself mentally and psychologically for this examination because it's a tough one. It's not an easy one. The British actually created in the 1870s to make it so tough that Indians don't enter it. So you can imagine it. So that has been the tradition. And that being the case, I think you need to sacrifice a lot from your side. See, the only gift that God has given equally to man is not air, water, food, or space. It's that 24-hour capsule, right? So people who succeed actually do within the 24 hours, right? So those who fail also fail in the 24 hours. So assume that that's the case, then I would say that you should be a good sleeper. You should be able to sleep well for around 7 hours, which leaves you around 17 hours. Then you leave out 5 hours for various things. Effectively, you had to spend around 12 hours for almost 10 to 12 months to be very confident of clearing these examinations. There are many candidates who are cleared just like that because of the sheer brilliance, etc. But I think this requires a lot of hard work. This requires, reading about science, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, etc. NCERT 6th standard. So if you look at students who are preparing for the examination, are actually looking at the 6th standard textbook of a CBSE student and studying from it. So 6th to 12th is, so that will be covered in what is called the general studies. So earlier there used to be optional subjects in the preliminary examination itself. So when I wrote it in 1993, 94, there was an additional subject. I had to take in zoology being a medical graduate. But today, the accent is more on the general studies. So there will be general studies optional, which is 200. General studies question paper, which is 200 marks. And then there will be what's called a CSAT, that is aptitude test for 200 marks. And that's very basically qualifying. And generally, nobody fails in that. But then this 200 marks of the general studies paper is quite anything under the sun. So the basic thing is that you need to have an interest in the world. So one of the first things that I tell anybody who is not in the age group to study is develop an interest in the world, and that starts with the newspaper. So when I was a child, there was only one Indian Express, and my sister and me would rush who would be the first to get the paper so that we could start reading. So reading from cover to cover the newspaper, however boring it is, actually makes you into a person who makes it a habit, right? So that will become habit, and you'll know exactly what to read, what not to read, how to skim, etc., how to read fast, etc. So whatever is happening locally, what is happening in the district, what is happening in the state, what is happening in the nation, whatever is happening globally, etc., should interest you as a person. So very inquisitive mind is what the UPS is looking for. So that's one part of the personality. The other part is, do you have, are you a multitasking person? Do you have multiple talents? Are you good at music? Are you good at painting? And all these add you to become a rounded personality. Because, in a very ordinary situation, you can handle things. A district collector can handle, a secretary to government can handle. But there are many crisis situations that these civil servants, IAS, IPS officers are put to. There are law and order issues. And at that point of time, if you become excited or anxious, then the situation is lost. So there you have to be the epitome of calmness, as it were. So all these qualities you try to build. I mean, many people say, I don't have this talent, etc. But I would rather ask you to look deep into it yourself and see whether you can explore those talents. Every human being is a walking, talking molecule of energy, right? So they can imbibe those qualities if they don't have. And everybody requires a lot of confidence. There are many people, people who are preparing, working in hotels, people who are pushing carts. There are many examples. These are very anecdotal. It doesn't happen universally, but then these are examples which can kind of inspire you. It's not the people sitting in the ivory towers who are qualified. These are really hardworking people who have that the fire in the belly, in a sense, for two reasons. One is to get out of their economic situation, one. But more than that, I think this is a brilliant, beautiful opportunity to serve your nation, whatever that means for you. Because, the problem is, when we are in a cricket match, etc., when India wins, we're very patriotic. But that's a very transient thing. Patriotism is a 24/7 thing. You're loving your people. You take out the people from the Indian subcontinent. You can't love the Indian subcontinent. It'll be rock. It'll be buildings. But it's the people that you have to love. So basically, it's for them that we are to serve. And you need to have a huge bias in favor of the poor and downtrodden. So if you have those combination of attitudes and thought processes, then the IAS is the best ever job in the world for you.
Yeah, I can see that. I can completely see that. In fact, you have just answered my next question, which I was about to ask you. How does an aspirant become an officer? I think you just ran us through the same points. And so which, if I can conclude, it means you need to have conviction and clarity in your concept. So that's what is going to help you.
And time management skills.
With the time management, yes.
Yeah.
We came to know that you have started an IAS institute, which is completely online. So can you just give us some insights about it? Why did you choose to start IAS Academy, and that too completely online? And how different is it from the rest?
So in a sense, the COVID situation has actually made us all online. We'd go crazy if we didn't have the Netflix with us, the internet with us. So it's a new normal, and I think people are getting used to it. Education or enterprise or work from home or teach from home, you name it, people are teaching music online, right? So it's not as if the world should stop because of this pandemic. The world should continue, and we should continue to imbibe all that is necessary during this time for us to imbibe. If the plus two exams get cancelled, doesn't mean the end of the world, but there's a reason for that. But then you need to go on. So the internet provides the best opportunity for us. That's one. Second, internet is a big leveler. A person sitting in Chennai or a person sitting in a small village inside Tamil Nadu also will have the same access to knowledge. So suppose they were to subscribe to my classes. We have around 20 teachers. They would get the same access. So the problem with the physical classroom is that even if you come very early, somebody would have sat in the front bench, right? So somebody has to be a backbencher. But the internet world, everybody is a front bencher, and you get equal access to knowledge. So that being the case, I think the world will be moving more towards this kind of thing, even after the situation normalizes. So that's my thought process. Second is, as I said, time is of big essence. So if you have to travel a couple of hours and reach an academy, then spend a lot of time gossiping, etc., wasting a lot of time. I think it's not going to do a great deal of good to you. You need to maximize the time available for you. So this is possibly another reason why you should not be stepping out of the comforts of your home, as it were. The home is also, in a sense, a bit of a problem, because you're dependent on your mother. You will walk into the kitchen, etc., to eat a lot, etc. But I feel that home provides a comfort in a sense that you are provided for. Same time, you can sit and study. So that is there. But all study, and I wouldn't recommend that. You would always need to go out if it's possible, watch a couple of movies and spend time. And more importantly, it's important to spend a lot of time on your physical exercise, at least a couple of hours. That's why I said that 5 hours, if you can spend a couple of hours on yoga and physical exercise, this will actually keep your adrenaline up for the 12 hours I'm talking about. So that's why I thought, the online method is the best method, and people across the globe can participate.
So I'm just going to be going to ask you a little critical question, because during this pandemic, there is a feeling that education has got the sensitivity towards education has got diluted. So do you think that has played a role on civil service preparation also? This is one. And the second thing, there is also a request because of this pandemic that the aspirants are not able to focus. They are out of the materials which they have to study, requesting for one more year of extension. So do you think these kind of things can be cut through this online education?
Absolutely. I think this is a golden opportunity for students, because in a regular class, as I said, you're traveling, you're wasting time. At least 2-3 hours of your time is lost in that sense. Then you are with friends, etc. For education to happen, I don't think you need to be in a classroom. Today, the virtual classroom is good enough. If you can see some of these virtual classrooms like Coursera, somebody I think in Kerala, she took 119 degrees from Coursera, or 192 degrees. I don't know which one is right, but it's somewhere around that, which means, there's no boundary for education or getting knowledge. And today, you have so much of access. So when I was studying for civil service, for example, I had to pedal to the British Library and Public Library in Trivandrum, go there, sit there, and get the right kind of books, etc. But today, at the click of a button, you have it. So I don't think it's the right thing to say postpone everything. You just need to budget your time, spend a little more on education and educating yourself. There's great opportunity. There are many things that we never knew, right? See, for example, I was never into cooking, but when the pandemic happened and my wife was working, she's a doctor, I would go to the YouTube, learn a lot of recipes, cook for her, and be ready to see how my recipe worked. So that's a skill, these are skills. We all need to learn an extra skill, if not more skills on the way. So if you can just look at the time that you're wasting, and if you look at your iPhone or any other smartphone, it will tell you how many hours you have spent on YouTube or different social media, etc. Whether you need to spend that much is something which is up to you to decide. But if you look back, you'll find that it's not, in a sense, very cerebral that we are thinking about. So I would say this pandemic has been a very, very wonderful opportunity to learn.
Yeah, so technology, use it the right way. It can distract, it can create. So you're taking the creative part rather than the distracting part of it.
Absolutely. Look at me. I am not only teaching. I am into consulting for around 5 companies. I'm sitting here in this table. I'm earning much more than I did as an IAS officer, at least. A lot of things. It's not about learning it alone. It's about earning. Uh, it's about being with people, because a lot of these Zoom calls. Look at this. I am first time meeting Priyadharshni. It's an opportunity to meet you. Otherwise, we'll not meet you, right? So it's an opportunity to meet with a lot of people. A lot of these webinars give us that opportunity. So
Right. So
participate in
coming
this
back,
webinars.
I'm so sorry. So coming back to the academy which you're running. So how different is it in comparison to the other online academies available for the aspirants?
So see, I have always believed that the teachers and the students should be at ease while teaching and while learning. Because some of these academies, they want you to go to a particular place and go to the recording room to record that. So for example, one of the academies I know, there's a fantastic academy, but I had to go all the way to Bangalore, and the pandemic I can't go. So I believe that my teachers should be at ease. They should be able to teach from wherever they are. See, for example, some are travel bugs. They'd like to travel. I don't care where they are. As long as they spend the time, that's good enough for us. Same thing with students. Wherever they are, they should be comfortable in learning. And the other thing about this online academy is there are two things. One is there are a lot of working professionals. The parents will not allow them to drop out or spend the whole day at home. They would have these videos available for them for the next 7 days to watch and learn. So maybe 4-5 hours, if they're able to manage, that should be good enough, because they are also working and they're also absorbing as they work. So this will be another opportunity for them. So the videos are available. You can play with it anytime. So that's why I believe that the Capstone IAS Academy is different. We have been approached by all parts of the country. In fact, some calls have come from abroad also. So that's the advantage of technology today. It doesn't matter
Is
where
there
you
any
are.
reason you named it Capstone?
No, so when I was in the IAS Academy, we had the phase 4 at Missouri. That was in 2008. So they had a project called Capstone Project. So I was wondering what this capstone was. So it's something like this, where you keep the stone and that supports the whole structure. So in a sense, I thought that is emblematic of my thought process also. So it came very naturally. In fact, I wrote, I created a PowerPoint presentation of around 11 slides in 2014 for a physical capstone academy to an investor. So this is not as if it happened just now. 2014 onwards, I've been harboring this.
So it is a thought over call, which you
That's
have
right.
been, yeah.
That's right.
And like how does a person reach out to you, sir? Like how does a person reach out to your academy?
Yeah, so we have put our email ID and mobile number over there. My number is almost available to it's on Facebook, etc. So I'm a big Facebook, Twitter user, and LinkedIn user, and Instagram also. So social media is my kind of area where I play. Of course, the other reason being that it's very expensive to put on the Hindu or the Indian Express. So that being the case, we are having a social media campaign, and there are a lot of inquiries. So they could reach out on my personal website, www.santhoshbabu.org. I have my email ID also there. So that's where you can reach out to me. I have people from different parts of the country, extremely talented, and they're teaching in different IAS academies. They've been teaching for the last maybe 15-20 years. I'm the only fresh guy in this. I've been teaching only for the last 1 year. My forte is public administration. I teach public administration and now ethics and governance also. So some of these teachers, after I listened to the videos, I said, oh my God, I'm really happy that somebody I didn't know existed, because they are in different parts of the country. We have come together and for the common goal of giving world-class quality education to our candidates and aspirants. It's not just education. We want to give a lot of emphasis on integrity, honesty, values, because that's something which is, kind of becoming a premium.
Most important, yes.
That's right.
And what's the contact details for the website, sir?
It's called www.capstoneiasacademy.com.
Okay,
It
so if
was
somebody
launched
wants to
today.
reach out and
Yeah,
want to pursue a career in the civil services,
that's
I'm
right.
sure they're going to use your website and get in touch with you. And a closing remark, if you could just give five most important follow-ups which any aspirant has to do, what should it that be?
So it will be, as I said, time management is of absolute importance here. First, second is that you don't listen to many people. The more you consult, the more you become confused. Just be yourself, because it's not rocket science. It's just a lot of drudgery, as simple as that. The more time you spend, it's like Hussein Bolt spending almost 2 years to run that 10 second, 8 or 7.78 seconds. It's that kind of thing. So it's a lot of hard work that goes into this simple examination. It's not a complicated examination at all. Third is keep yourself motivated. So I will request you to do three things every day. One is listen to one TED talk, which is around 18 minutes. Go to your smartphone, you will have a TED talk. TED app is there. So listen to just one TED talk at random. It's all very motivating. That's 18 minutes. Second is when you go to sleep at 10 o'clock, you should have a biography of a great person in hand. That's actually very important, because these biographies are very historical and gives a historical perspective. You take Abraham Lincoln or Martin Luther King or Swami Vivekananda or many of our leaders of or Nelson Mandela. This gives a lot of motivation. It gives a lot of we keep wondering how these men transcended those difficult times to become what they became as legends of their times. That's a third, and that's a fourth thing I said. And fifth is obviously you have to do a lot of physical exercise. Yoga is very pranayama is very important. If you jog or run, see, for example, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I run for around 1 hour, and then I do yoga, etc. That's become part and parcel of me. I do wherever I go. But of course, I never used to do this when I was an aspirant. Nobody ever told me. But today, there are a number of academies, not only my academy, there are a number of academies. You can go anywhere you want. But there are people out there who are wanting to take you to that higher level, next higher level. It's not a very commercial thing that we are thinking about. Of course, that money is also required. But at the same time, what we are trying to inculcate in you is a higher purpose. That is, which is nation building, which is serving the people without expectations, which is, without absolutely no expectations, serving this country. Nothing can give you, bigger satisfaction than that.
That's really overwhelming and really very encouraging. So thank you so much for your time. And I'm sure for our viewers who have watched this conversation with you, they would have had an understanding of why they should choose civil services and what can they do to the, what can they give back to the nation they belong to. And thank you so much for opening up an IAS Academy for youngsters to be benefited. And all our very best to you to do great in your life. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Priyadharshni, for your time, and I thank Prime Point Srinivasan sir for making this happen. Extremely happy. I wish you all the very best. I wish Prime Point Foundation the very best. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.